The Cubs need to upgrade their bullpen as soon as possible. Can I offer a dream trade target?
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
I'm Matt Cozy, and you are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Odoo. Great organizations win because operations matter, and that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. On today's episode, we give some updates for the Cubs-Mets series as Monday's game was rained out. That's 2 rainouts in a row for the Cubs, who are changing up their rotation a little bit. We'll also preview that series a little bit more as well. Go over internal options to improve the bullpen, which is in need of serious upgrade. And I'm going to offer one really dream trade target, a few others, as to whether or not the Cubs could get this done. Thank you to Sam for filling in for me last episode, as I am under the weather, and Sam and I will be back together all 3 episodes the rest of the week. The Cubs bullpen is so the Cubs pitching is a big factor moving forward for this 2026 season. I'm on record as saying that. I remember after it was the win that snapped the losing streak, if I recall, with Joe George, where I talked about this dichotomy, offense, pitching, and then last week tried to make the claim to Sam, hey, moving forward, yeah, I understand what's happened with the offense, and that's why the Cubs, for the most part, are in the position they're currently in. But moving forward, the rest of the season, the rest of the 80-plus games, are still over half the season left. Pitching is going to be the biggest factor. And the rotation hasn't been good the last month or two, and the bullpen is not far behind that. Daniel Palencia is now on the IL for the second time this year. Timetable to return, unknown. Not exactly a confidence builder there. Really no idea when he's going to return. MRI did show a mild strain the other day in his flexor tendon. Cubs bullpen this month, 4.94 ERA, and in the past week alone, they have allowed 15 runs on 16 hits and 10 walks in 18 innings for an ERA of 7.50, which ranks last in all of baseball. That's just the last week. They've gotten smoked, and it feels like it too. For the season, they rank 11th in ERA, but 26th in strikeouts per 9. And that is the key stat for me. When I reflect on the bullpen, the construction of it, and then the subsequent performance this season, the Cubs, every season in the Jed Hoyer era, which is now 6 years under Hoyer's leadership, they never have a bullpen built on velocity or built on spin or built on anything that bullpens that have had success in the modern game are constructed upon. And even if your bullpen isn't explicitly built on velo or spin, you'd still have some options, right? Options plural down there that sit 95, 96 and top out at 99. And guess what? The one guy they have this year who does that is Palencia, and he's on the IL for a second time. And losing Palencia, as you can see with Saturday's blown game and loss, not only takes away your closer, your 9th inning guy, but you also don't have an 8th inning guy. You really didn't have a proper 8th inning guy anyway, and now he's supposed to pitch the 9th? Right? Jacob Webb got that shot in the 8th on Saturday. He was bad. Hobie Milner would be the other guy. Maybe they try to platoon with him. You see Caleb Fieldbar is turning in to something extremely unfortunate. And so this bullpen needs help. And the other really annoying part of this is that what they've decided to do with the rotation where they don't prioritize velo or spin in this Jed Hoyer era, well, then you got to make sure you do that in the bullpen, right? And they haven't done that. ESPN's Jeff Passan last week put out a top 100 players list for the trade deadline. More than enough names, which this year the deadline is August 3rd. That's latest I remember it. Cubs will only have 49 games remaining after the deadline. Out of the top 100, there are 37 relievers, an incredible amount, which you could conclude it's a great season then to trade for a relief pitcher. And I'm here to tell you the Cubs need to trade for one immediately. Like, if it could happen this week, if they could leave this series against the Mets with one of the Mets relievers, preferably Brooks Raley, maybe A.J. Minter, that would be huge. And you'd have to overpay for even a Raley or a Minter or someone lower on this top 100 list. Those guys are in the top 40. Top 40 overall, the top 100 players, which is a good ranking. You have to give up a mid-tier prospect, maybe two of them. But the player to go really, really big, enormous, on this list with is Aroldis Chapman, who, because of a mutual option for next year, will likely be a free agent after this season. And you want to talk about turning back the clock, what's old is new again. 10 years after trading for Chapman in 2016, they could really signal another all-in step by trading for Chapman again. And in 22 games for the Red Sox this year, Chapman has a 0.89 ERA, 29 strikeouts to only 9 walks. He's allowed only 12 hits, 0, a goose egg, home runs. He is the top reliever on Passan's list and 8th overall out of the 100. Garrett Whitlock, also with the Red Sox and with a team option for 27, is the second reliever on this list. There's a bunch of other relievers in the top 50 overall of the 100, Raley and Minter, like I said. You also have several Marlins in the top 50 overall. Kenley Jansen, a long coveted player of mine for the Cubs, is in the 40s there of overall players. Chapman has an average fastball velo this year, 97.4. What a career he has had, just from a pure stuff standpoint, of course. But then you bring out his baseball card, and his numbers back it up for the most part as well. Since Chapman will likely be a free agent this season, I don't think you need to trade Matt Shaw. I don't think you need to trade Moises Ballesteros. Though if you're willing to, I think you could get Chapman this week if you want. I don't think you need to do that, though, for a rental. Cubs' top 5 prospects, according to MLB Pipeline: Jefferson Rojas, Pedro Ramirez, who's on the current roster, Jackson Wiggins, Josiah Hartshorn, who's on fire in the minor leagues, Ethan Conrad, who was just drafted last summer, and Kane Kepley's number 6. He's also from the last draft. Cubs still have Jonathan Long, James Triantos, Kevin Alcantara. But, folks, that's really it from a value standpoint in terms of acquiring a headline name, and Chapman would certainly be that. So talking a little bit of trade to kick off trade season. Still a while away, but it's fun to dream. And it's fun to think about them making a trade even this week. I mean, I'm kind of in jest about the Mets, but they have a couple guys over there across the field this week that you could definitely want, and you could definitely see them acquiring. Let's go over the internal options right now to further prove my point of them trying to go external here, possibly soon as possible, maybe even dreaming with Chapman, and we do that next. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. If you've got a sweet tooth like I do, you know how tough it is to find that perfect treat without all the sugar. That's why Cotton Candy 5 Hour Energy Shot brings that nostalgic flavor back in a whole new way. This is that classic cotton candy taste you remember, but with a tasty caffeine boost and 0 sugar. It's a quick, easy way to satisfy that sweet craving while keeping things simple and on the go. I've always loved cotton candy. You've always loved it, especially during the summertime. You can't be eating sweets all day, though, and that's why this is a perfect alternative. The fruity vanilla vibe the surprisingly smoothness, and it's so convenient too. Just a small portable shot you can grab whenever you need a little pick-me-up. It's going to be your go-to when you want something sweet without going overboard. Bring on the sweetness with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online now at 5hourenergy.com or on Amazon to try 5-Hour Energy today. Today's episode is also brought to you by Hims. ED is way more common than most guys think, and millions of men deal with it at some point. Hims offers a simple, convenient way to take care of your health by connecting you with a licensed healthcare provider online and giving you access to personalized treatment options from the comfort of your own home. No awkward appointments, no pharmacy lines, just a straightforward process designed to make getting care easier. Taking care of yourself shouldn't feel complicated, and Hims makes the process private and easy to navigate. It's healthcare built around your schedule and your comfort, especially with busy schedules. We all have them between work, family, everything else going on, and having a licensed provider online means you can prioritize your health without having to rearrange your entire day. To get simple online access to personalized, affordable care for ED, hair loss, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/lockedonmlb for your free online visit. hims.com/lockedonmlb. Prescription required. See website for details and important safety information. Thank you for making Locked On Cubs your first listen of the day. If you haven't already, go check out our new Everydayer Club, which includes ad-free episodes and more. Go to lockedoncubs.supercast.com or click the link in this episode descriptions. Well, I tried to lay out the problems with the Cubs bullpen: lack of velo, lack of spin, absences on the IL, Palencia and others too, even players who are currently on the roster that weren't at one point because of an IL stint, and then those that are still out: Hunter Harvey, Porter Hodge, and others. And then performance: 4.94 ERA in June, 26th in baseball for the entire year in strikeouts per nine. Aroldis Chapman's a dream target. There's others as well. Ton of relievers in Jeff Passan's top 100. And I'm wondering, with Matthew Boyd returning to the rotation this week, likely returning to the rotation this week, more on that later in the show, could Colin Rea be what I would phrase as a long closer, a position I'm going to create? This Cubs team needs to create a position like this. They have a bullpen problem. I think Ryan Rollison could be a good long closer candidate. What do I mean by a long closer? Let's say Boyd pitches Thursday, right? He goes 4 innings. Well, in this situation, as a long closer, Colin Rea, in theory, could finish the game and go 5 innings. Or if you really want to get creative about this, and I can't tell what Craig Counsell's appetite for this is anymore. I think he's open to it. We saw how he operated in the postseason. And I admit, for the regular season, this is a little bit drastic, but don't you think the Cubs need to take some strong measures like this? And I don't know if I would even call this drastic. So Colin Rea is the long closer. Let's say Boyd goes for 4 innings. What if Jacob Webb pitched the 5th and Hobie Milner pitched the 6th, and then Colin Rea is the long closer, finish the game, 3 innings, 7, 8, 9. Colin Rea has basically been a starter his whole Cubs career. He pitched a handful of games out of the pen last year, did really well. He pitched a handful of games out of the pen this year, didn't do as well. And then he joined the rotation full time. Now, let's see if he actually does go to the bullpen again, right? We keep doing these proposals and these theories, and then, someone else to the IL. But he would be the guy to go to the pen with Boyd's return, and I don't think he should be like a mop-up guy or up a lot, down a lot guy they could use him for real value, real impact. And that would be as a long closer. I think Rolison is a candidate for this as well. I threw out last week, name me a third redeeming storyline of the 2026 Cubs at the player level, right? Two clear ones. Number one is Pete. Number two is Ben Brown. And I think three is Rolison, who has not allowed a run in over a month. He last allowed a run May 17th. And for the season, in 27 2/3 innings pitched, has a 1.95 ERA. He's been tremendous. And 10 of his 23 appearances this year have gone for more than one inning. He hasn't thrown more than 30 pitches in a game since May 31st, so that was a while ago. But I think this is a player that could do that. And with Rea shifting to the pen, you could get creative. You could get creative with Rolison. And there is a big domino effect in my mind with Palencia going down. I mean, let's go over the bullpen. This is in order from bottom to top of guys that you would see in leverage or guys that you trust right now. And Gavin Hollowell was recalled last week, so he's eighth. I think Trent Thornton would be next for me. He's really struggled lately. Caleb Thielbar this month has allowed 3 home runs for the season. He has a 4.95 in 23 games. I think he would be next for me. I think then it's Roberts, then it's Maton. And out of those 5, Hollowell, Thornton, Thielbar, Roberts, and Maton, what's the confidence number out of 10 for that 5? Is it a 2? Is it a 2.5? Is it a 2.8? Man, you're really putting a lot on the top 3, right? And it's respectfully to these guys, a top 3 in quotes when that's your first 5 out of the pen. And those last 3 guys are Milner, Webb, and Rolison. Now, I just talked about Rolison. He's been great. Milner has been pretty good all year. Webb was lights out for a month, and then he's gotten hit around the last couple times out. But you're going to need these guys. And I think to emphasize Milner, Webb, and Rolison is fine. And with Boyd hopefully coming back this week, you could put Rea in there. And so that's half the bullpen then you do feel pretty good about. It would be Rea, Milner, Webb, and Rolison. And maybe they get creative with more than one inning with with Rea and Rolison. And we'll see about the other 4 guys. You don't really have options internally. They're really, really limited at AAA right now. I could read you the names. Ty Block, no. Vince Velasquez, no. Colin Snyder, no. They have made a few trades recently. Tyler Ferguson, they got from the A's a couple weeks ago. Antoine Kelly, they got from the Dodgers recently. Sunday, they made a trade. Acquired Jaden Murray from the Astros. But the last 3 names there, including Murray on Sunday from the Stros, these are all pitchers who had been designated for assignment. And because the Cubs are so desperate for pitching, they actually bypass the waiver process and give up real cash or real, in the case of Murray with the Astros trade Sunday, a real minor league position player. Murray had a 7.43 ERA in 8 games with the Astros this year. For AAA Sugarland for the Astros, doesn't sound like a real affiliate, but I promise it is. He was really good in the minors, 1.17 in 14 games. We'll see as he gets with the Cubs infrastructure how he does. I wouldn't expect him to be added to the Cubs roster this week, but maybe we see him sooner than later. All right, coming up next, one reason why Colin Rea could go to the pen, the return of Matthew Boyd, plus other updates and notes for Cubs Mets this week. Stay tuned. We are also presented by Odoo. Running a business shouldn't feel like you're trying to connect a bunch of systems that were never designed to work together. One app for accounting, another for inventory, another for sales. Somehow none of them talk to each other. That's where Odoo comes in. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that brings every part of your business together in one powerful platform. From sales and accounting to inventory and marketing, everything works in one place, helping your team move faster, stay organized, and focused on growing the business instead of managing software. The best organizations know that success isn't just about talent. It's about having everyone working toward the same goal. That's true in sports, just like it is in business. Think about the three positives on the Cubs this year. Pete Crow-Armstrong, Ben Brown, Ryan Rollison. They've all made great adjustments, great in-game decisions, and it's really shown on the field. And great organizations win because operations matter. And that's why you should get Odoo. Try for free today at odoo.com/lockedon. That's odoo.com/lockedon. odoo.com/lockedon. I'm Matt Cozy. I'm a lifelong fan, turning my passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. And thank you for making Locked On Cubs #1 Cubs podcast. Matthew Boyd made a rehab start this past Saturday for High A South Bend, and it went well with 59 pitches. And before the rain hit the borough of Queens on Monday night, Boyd completed a 30-pitch bullpen and could start for the Cubs as soon as Thursday in the series finale against the Metropolitans. Boyd has been on the IL since May 6th after injuring his knee playing with his children. He underwent meniscus surgery the following day and was progressing so well, he had already started his rehab process by the end of May, but following a second rehab start at AAA Iowa on June 6th, he suffered a setback when shoulder soreness cropped up. If you remember, Boyd was also on the IL earlier this year with the biceps strain. This is all following an all-star season in 2025 when he led the rotation for almost the entire year. Well, I would be glad to see Matthew Boyd back as soon as Thursday. I think it would be, this is pro sports. This is a business. This is the real deal. But I do think it would be a little cruel to have him return from really what's 2 injuries since he's been on the IL and 3 total this year. A little cruel to have him return in Milwaukee on Friday. Have you seen the Brewers' projected starters? Have to wait till our last episode of the week, but it might be Jacob Mizorowski, Kyle Harrison, and Brandon Woodruff. It might be. It is. So a little cruel to put Boyd in that situation against the Miz, but maybe they do that. Maybe he pitches Saturday. But I have a feeling that maybe they do try him out for 3 or 4 innings Thursday, and then they go from there. If they could even get glimpses of what he's been in the past, I think that'll be a tremendous boost for this team. The rotation has been, aside from the last week or so, almost just as bad as the offense. And I think the rotation does get overlooked. I think that is by choice by a lot of us. But the pitching has been almost as equally as bad as the offense. And again, I understand the offense is why the Cubs record is the way it is for the most part. And they've failed time and time again with runners in scoring position. But I'm saying moving forward, which group are you worried about more? If you just take the Blue Jays series, which group are you worried about more? And it's rare to have these days off in between games. The Cubs won big Friday. They blew the game, lost on Saturday. And then the next game you play isn't for 3 days. That's pretty rare. This is the same storm that caused Monday's rain out that caused Sunday's rain out in Wrigley. And then they got on a plane. They traveled in the storm. Still didn't play. Monday's game will be made up as part of a split doubleheader on Wednesday, with the day game beginning at 12:10 Central and the night game still at 6:10. Tuesday and Thursday unchanged, both of those at 6:10. Cubs rotation is changing, though. Shota Imanaga was scheduled to start Sunday, and then he was scheduled to start Monday, but he will not start on Tuesday. Edward Cabrera will take his regularly scheduled spot on Tuesday. Shota and Javier Assad will start the DH on Wednesday, with TBD on Thursday. Could be Boyd. They could surprise us and have Ray make one last start before a shift to the pen. Could also be Ben Brown, who at one point before all these rainouts and having to get all our umbrellas out, that would have been his spot, but I think he'll probably pitch against the Brewers this weekend. Mets will roll out their rotation as planned. Kodai Senga Tuesday, and then we'll go from there. Mets are 34-43, 5-5 in their last 10. And Juan Soto was on the IL when the Cubs played the Mets in April, but Soto is back now and dominating as usual. And Francisco Lindor is on the IL right now, but he was available in April. But we will likely see him this week. Lindor is scheduled to return by Thursday's series finale, even if it is just Thursday. He'll play his, I believe, fourth rehab game Tuesday, third or fourth for AAA Syracuse. And Lindor hasn't played since April 22nd. I don't think I realized that before digging into some Mets stuff today. Wow, 2 months. It would be over 2 months that he would have been out. That's major. You can see why that's impacting the Mets, just like it did when Soto was out earlier. They've really, really underachieved. 9 games under 500. They did have a good May, though, and then they're back to 500. Kind of playing teeter-totter this month. I think Tuesday is an important win to bank. You win big Friday, you blow the game Saturday, and then you don't play until 3 days later, and you're facing a starter in Senga who has missed most of the year due to injury as well. He returned last week. He didn't pitch well, and he has a 9 ERA with 17 walks and 24 innings for the year. It's going to be a weird week. I mean, I see rain in the forecast on Tuesday, too. Do they play a triple header Wednesday? Do they play 2 doubleheaders? But in all seriousness, I really hope the Cubs win Tuesday, and we'll be back right after that game. Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Cubs. Make sure you subscribe and follow so you get all the latest episodes. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 National Locked On Podcast Network YouTube channel, and on audio. Make sure your second listen is Locked On MLB. I'm Matt Cozy, and this is Locked On Cubs.